Hello and welcome to the Vibe Union podcast, interviewing Melbourne musicians, creatives, and keeping an eye on the scene. I am your host for today, Rhath. Straight off the bat, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Everyone plays a role in their own way in raising awareness and taking positive action towards a brighter future for everyone on this land. Here we are today with a relatively new kind of member of the community that we've met over the past few months. It's Jim Horde. G'day, Jim.
How are we today?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Pretty tired, but still surviving here.
Yeah. Nice. We've just had a long weekend of 4 days with lots of gigs, and I believe you, however, were working, unfortunately.
I was pretty sick, actually, and then I had to work Saturday. This when I came back to work.
Dude. No. No good at all. Jim Horde, first question straight off the bat for you. I've been wondering this for a while, and I realize I have not asked you, and podcast is a perfect place to do so. Where's the name come from? Jim Horde? Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't even know at this point. Hey, I used to play World of Warcraft a lot when I was 12, and I think I kind of just typed in the username, just Jim Horde. I was just like, okay, that's it. And I was like, that kind of sounds cool, and I've just sort of kept it as an alternative alias. Even when I started writing plays and movie scripts and stuff, I'd always use Jim as the protagonist name. I was just like, fuck it, hey. And I feel as a musician, it just sounds cool. And even with that sort of idea of alter ego, I was I can really play along with that, taking sort of inspiration from WoW. Just be like, yeah, I'm the war chief or whatever. That kind of sounds cool. I don't know, I fuck with that sort of concept. I would love to get if I ever got bigger, the sort of shoulder pads and really play into that persona a bit. I feel I don't know, that's just something that I've had on my mind with the kind of future.
Yeah. That's huge. That's so funny because, I'm big into the aliases thing. I started off with, we were talking about before we started recording about having I had a cartoon character as my alter ego. But I have yet to I haven't encountered too many people with names that have no connection besides such a loose concept, which is great. But I was thinking about the word horde because for me, definitely the first thing that came to mind was Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft 3.
It's kind of the same sort of world, yeah. That's
so funny. Jim Horde, you have come to Melbourne from England. You've come out here and you've been releasing music. You released your first few singles while you've been here, I believe.
Yeah, they were, and it wasn't England, it was Perth. But I'm originally British.
I'm terribly confused.
It doesn't matter, hey, but yeah, I recorded that shit back home.
Are you not English?
I am originally, but I lived in Australia since I was 7.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, bloody hell. All right. I guess, okay.
Hey, mistakes happen, man. It's cool, bro.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but I released the first track called Boy and Astra in September. Mm-hmm. And that was definitely my favorite one because I think I probably told you in the past, the way I sort of branched into making music was because I went through a breakup. Mm-hmm. I was just that's such a what they do, right? You get your heart broken. Mm-hmm. So you decide to write fucking music. And then I think that song just kind of came along. I remember I was in Rottnest Island, riding my bike. And I was listening to, Slow Tide's album, Tyrone. Mm-hmm. And then I had cancelled in the headphones. I was like, that is the fucking sickest song I've heard in so long. Mm-hmm. Skepta's just that is just a masterpiece. I kind of want to just not copy it at all, but take heavy inspiration from just kind of the instrumental and the delivery there. Yeah, fuck.
That's great. I love the... So you hadn't really been making music prior to the breakup? Breakup was your introduction into...
I made one song kind of I'd always probably written lyrics without actually realizing they were lyrics. In form of just shitty poetry and verse or whatever. But that was when I guess I started to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely just... I don't know, I guess because writing didn't capture the same way as just screaming your fucking heart out or singing. And I feel it's just cool to show my friends that stuff. And I guess why they were seeing me sort of like suffering, it was just like they could acknowledge that. It's like it's a bit deeper than that. Yeah.
So it's that release is definitely the drive behind it.
It's a way to really kind of put your like problems into an idea, and like it's therapeutic as fuck.
Yeah. So then do you find your work is very much like, are you ever exaggerating? Are you putting spin on it, or are you trying keeping it as raw and as personal and as real as to the truth as possible?
I feel like it's kind of like a 50-50. Like you take this initial feeling or like emotional sort of whatever, and then it's trying to do that so it's not, because something so literal is kind of boring, right?
Yeah.
So like the latest single I made, Trapped in the Rat Race, like, yeah, that's basically just a reflection of how I felt while working in South Bank. Yeah, working like a hell busy bar, and it's just like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
So it's just, but it's like trying to do that in a more interesting way than just saying this shit sucks.
Yeah.
And like, using like metaphor and like all that kind of imagery.
Yeah. And I mean, exaggeration, that's, where was I going with this? Basically, I was thinking about this earlier today because I was writing a piece very similar in the sense of writing about the rat race, about working 9 to 5 and still not being able to pay your bills, still not being able to pay rent and all that kind of stuff. Just anti-capitalism kind of bullshit, But then thinking to myself while I'm writing this, like, I've never worked a 9 to 5. I've never done any of this.
Yeah, but you've done hospital. That shit's fucking worse.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, look, I'm glad I don't have to go to a fucking office every day and just sit there. But, like, hospitality is just, like, physically exhausting and, like, mentally draining.
Yeah.
And, like, like, during Christmas, that shit was just, like, unhealthy. Like, I was there, like, 80 hours a fortnight, just every night. Like, while your friends were partying and just, like, hanging out. Like, while you guys were doing all the gigs, I was like, I'm just fucking stuck in here.
Yeah,
just making, like, below minimum wage, basically.
So what kind of places were you working at?
I work at. I probably shouldn't say it.
You can say what type of business it is, but yeah,
it's like a bar.
Names. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bar.
We're talking high end. We're talking low end dive. What?
It's like a sports bar, but like South Bank's pretty nice, and like my mom recently came to Melbourne. I was just like, South Bank is so like where you take someone if they have no idea what Melbourne is. Yeah. It's got that like nice, classy, but it's still sort of casual. But it's fucking busy, man. Like sometimes this place makes like $100,000 a night. Yeah, and we're getting like $22.
Yeah. Man, so I've worked in hospitality a long time, and funnily enough, I still record a hospitality-based podcast. And it's one thing that just drives me nuts is kind of the view of hospitality, and you've come on to the Talking Blue Vibe Union's poetry night and had a good red hot go at taking hospitality down a peg. Which I always mad respects, man. I appreciate that. Because it is very much like, it's an entry level job. There's no doubt about that. Almost anyone can get into it, unless we're talking like, especially in Melbourne, there is
not
to be a good bartender, you got to have some experience. You got to take time to get to that place.
Like I would say, just sorry to interrupt you. Like,
no, please.
COVID basically meant anyone could get a fucking job.
That's true.
Because everyone was out because they were sick, that they'd been in the house for like the last 5 months. We didn't have any backpackers. We didn't have any tourists. We didn't have any international students. So like I probably shouldn't have even got a job in a bar because I'd only work at like fish and chip shops and like retirement homes. Yeah. But like some of the people that they were hiring, because we were so fucking desperate, were like 18-year-olds that have never worked in their life. And this is like high traffic. Nah, but the floors, like waitering is still pretty fucking physically exhausting.
Oh, for sure.
Like bartending's obviously a bit different, but like still, it's like when I was working with them, it's like it's fucking hard when like some of the people you're working with are like more incompetent. Yeah. So you got to like carry like 3 or 4 other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the that was my point was going to be that like it is entry level, and so I guess that's why people think that pay gap or that wage is deserving. Like, we'll give this 18-year-old, 19-year-old. Let's give them $18, which is below minimum wage.
Yeah,
but minimum wage here is like $22. Actually, no, it's like 25, 26 now if you're doing casual work as a hospital worker. But I I see people kind of like, I see the kind of sentiment online of people being like, that makes sense when these people are office workers. But it is the kind of job that there's no downtime. You don't get to just kick back and relax for even a couple of minutes. You are constantly running around on your feet. And have to look busy. I think there's nothing. The part that drove me nuts about hospitality was just you need to always be doing stuff, even if it's quiet
like
for a second. You gotta find
wine
something.
glasses or like cutting fruit or something.
Yeah,
like I just go to the toilet if I want to like sit down for like 5 minutes. And I don't care, man. Like, you know, let me do that. Like I need to.
yeah. But that's that. But working in hospitality though has inspired a fair bit of your work. Do you find yourself
100%.
coming to think of like lyrics and stuff like that while you're on the job? Or
100% actually. Weirdly enough, I feel like that's sometimes where you get like your best sources when you're doing like other stuff, and it's just like maybe like a word you just read on like a menu or something can just trigger like an entire concept.
Yeah,
and it's like that's pretty cool.
You're also seeing such a good cross section and an honest cross section of humanity, I think.
Especially like where we work, we get like everyone, like every single person you can fucking imagine.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's also harder to deal with because some people act differently than others. Some people are really nice. Some people are like absolute fucking cunts, and you just want to slap them in the face. But you know, it's exhausting. Yeah,
there's no better tell, I think, of who's a bad person than if they treat workers, hospitality staff, service staff with contempt. If you treat people bad, if you treat service staff badly, pretty high chance that you're an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I get like if your food's late or whatever, you're allowed to ask, but like it's how you do that. Yeah, and like if you keep fucking bickering the same person, like you know, what will you come on?
There's a nice way of doing it. Yeah. I was getting a burrito the other night, and I saw someone come up and they tried to get the table number back from behind the counter, and say, "Hey, can I just get this back? Because they dropped off my food and they haven't dropped off everything." And it's just that tone where you could just go up and go, "Hey, I'm sorry, can I just get that number back? They haven't dropped off all my food there. Just drop it down a notch, drop it down 10 decibels. You're gonna be sweet. The hospital staff will appreciate the hell out of you. You will get your food. You come in hot like that, you're only going to get that anger right back at you. I feel like people just like
to treat it as like boxing bags because they're like, oh, they have to be nice to me. And you know, it's the same with retail. I'd assume that you get some shit cunts in retail.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're a very like crossover industry.
I don't think I could do retail again. I even worked retail in.
Where do you work?
I did work in a music store.
Oh, that's pretty cool though. You know, it's niche stuff.
It drained the life out of music. Like polishing guitars that you can't afford and also selling terrible guitars to children. Like their parents going to say, I just want to get them started. I want to buy them this one. It's like you're going to want to quit because of that guitar. Yeah. It's a miserable piece of crap. I hated doing it.
No, I worked at Maya for 2 shifts maybe 2 years ago. And I was like, you know, put me in menswear, put me in something I can actually sell. Like, I like to believe I'm pretty fashionable. And they put me in fucking, like, kitchenware.
Right.
Like, I don't know anything about this. Why did you expect I would know, like, what the fuck? And, yeah, like, I'm so glad I only worked there for 2 shifts because I saw some bad people. Maya's, I feel like it, especially in Christmas, you know, you brought in that very like middle-aged women kind of crowd.
Yeah.
And they are fucking ruthless. They don't give a shit about anything.
Well, I think it's the same kind of same thing with the hospitality thing. I feel like it's if you feel like you lack a lot of power elsewhere in your life, then this is the kind of the one place where I get to be Lord here, and you guys have to do what I say. And it is, punching bag or as a release of just
stress,
other frustration, stress in their lives can bring it out.
It could even just come down to like how you were raised or whatever. Like some cultures don't like appreciate hospitality as much, or it's like looked down or whatever. So maybe it's like it's more like justified to be like that.
I think there's you're right. It's a pretty broad stroke to say you're a piece of shit if you don't treat hospital staff correctly. I think. But I don't know. I guess it's more from people I've actually met and people I know who I've seen be like that. Yeah. Who are living in the same area. This is more like when I was living in the country, and I know people who I've grown up around. I see who they truly are, and then I see the way they speak to the husband. I'm like, okay,
you're a shit cutter.
There's no reason for you to be like this. You don't have any excuse. All right. So you've been hanging out in Melbourne for a little while and stumbled across someone who also just arrived in the city roughly the same time. Your boy Alaska, who's got an event coming up as well. Give him a little plug. I'm actually going to get your boy Alaska on In fact, you know what? This episode might come out after his, but nonetheless, your boy Alaska's coming on this podcast in a week or so anyway to plug an event coming up. And I'm going to remember the date, and I'll put it in the description below. Check the description below. 7th of May at Red Betty's. We're going to have... You might know the artist off the top of your head better.
I've seen the lineup.
Do you know who's performing at that?
I think it's like Dearly. You are performing, man.
I am performing. Yeah. I'm performing. Username unknown is performing. Dilly Dave.
Monk Inferno. I don't know Sydney Maya. I don't think is it her name?
Oh, sure.
I saw her on it, and yeah, I'm sure there's a few other people.
Check the link in description for that gig. I'm going to go into it properly with your boy Alaska in a couple of weeks. Yeah, this is terrible. Look, pretty new to hosting. All right. But I wanted to ask, because you guys are some of the most energetic performers I've seen in quite some time.
Thank you very much.
100%. I mean it as an absolute compliment. Guys jumping around on stage, screaming, yelling, dancing a lot as well. And you guys are both very complementary, but very chaotic and explosive energy. So I kind of wanted to ask, like, what has been the process of working with him, both in the studio sense and also like what it's been like performing with him?
It's been nothing but pure fun. It's been pretty chaotic, and obviously, like, you know, it's not my song, so I feel like I can be a little bit more like jumpy than him because he's trying to remember like entire verses and shit.
Yeah.
But I love doing the high man stuff because it can really bring out that like just chaos and like he's got like high energy tracks, so I want to like support that and like just. It's kind of like you are both the audience and the performer, and like I love just like hip hop shows and like, you know, I've been to so many festivals like Listen Now. I've seen so many just like rappers live, and like I'm such a big fan of like mosh pit culture.
Right.
And I fucking just love this shit so much. Like I can't wait to see some of the artists that are like on the Splendor Drop Off lineup. Yeah. Like, you know, JPEG's gonna be insane.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
big JPEG fan.
I feel like it kind of comes, and the reflection of my music as well is like, I love fucking hip hop and like I love just mosh pits. So it's like I want to make music that can like bring people like that kind of energy, you know, like, and I guess working with Aaron is like, you know, we can do that together, because I think he saw me perform at you did that like open mic nights. I think I performed Trapped in the Rat Race for the first time, and I think it was from there he was just like, oh, you're like a pretty like sick performer. Like, you know, some of the other rappers, you're more like, you know, you're more like in your own little bubble doing your own kind of thing. But I guess we forget, like, you're not just like an artist when you're on stage. Like, you need to do both.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that sometimes. And I guess also just jumping around doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's gonna like that. Some people are like, what the fuck is this? Yeah,
they're very different styles, and like even myself, like speaking on mosh culture, we spoke just before we hit record on this thing that I've been to very, very few festivals, and the idea of being stuck in a large crowd terrifies the absolute hell out of me.
No, that's the best way in the world.
In a mosh pit, in that sense, is like a flow state? Is it a state of focus?
No, I mean, like, usually I'm pretty fucked up as well. But like, regardless of that, I've actually talked to this about my girlfriend like a few times, and it was just like, I genuinely believe there's like some sense of therapy in it. Like, you know, like men are fucking angry. We like have low tempers and stuff. So like, I guess just sometimes just being able to do that with people that also want to do that. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Like it lets some energy. Yeah. Like even like, and there's so many like crossover like music genres that do this. Like death metal does it, rock does it. So it's just, I don't really explain where I like just began loving it. I was just think this is just like so fun. Yeah. Like just jumping around.
Any injuries from a mosh pit?
Actually, I saw, do you know Psychedelic Porn Crumpets?
No.
They're like this pretty big like perf rock band at Laneway, and that was like one of my first times seeing like a rock mosh pit, and they were fucking crazy. Like those cunts go insane, and I got like hit in the nose. Right. I was just like, fuck. King Giz must be like the exact same as this.
Yeah. I mean, King Giz has at least got their slower jams, so like you can.
But weirdly enough, people just chill out for a bit. It doesn't make sense when I went to a rock show. I was like, this doesn't even sound that like rowdy, but like people are like jumping and opening it up.
Yeah, right.
Like, fuck yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I find it's probably almost more suitable for hip hop in this day and age. Just like that stuff, a lot. Especially, actually, you know, I think there's actually a big crossover now. we're hearing it more and more. Like even new metal is kind of coming back through hip hop.
Yeah, well, like what's that one Denzel works with?
Bloody.
He's on that one track with Peggy.
I was thinking of. Oh my god, I can't think of her name.
I will check the phone quick.
All right. We'll think of. No, too much dead.
Zilla Kami.
Zilla Kami.
Yeah,
I don't know Zilla
it's like that
Kami.
kind of like screamo, like rap.
Okay.
And I feel like that's that's a whole kind of different conversation. But like just, I find hip hop at its kind of core can be pretty boring. So it's like that sounds ironic, but like it's crossover.
Yeah.
It's when you really take these different genres and like put them together that like the best things and come out. Mm-hmm. And like you look at like I would like to believe that kind of reflects like modern day music.
For sure.
Yeah. Like
the internet's just a melting pot of everything.
Bro. Like that's why people love Death Grips and like it's just this is like crazy. Like what the fuck even is this? But it's like you're doing something very original.
I mean, it gets classed as hip hop, but it's in its own little world. It's so unique and taking influence from so many different places that it's so removed. I mean, even modern hip hop in general, like modern trap is so far removed from classic like 90s.
Yeah,
90s and 80s.
You always get that conversation like, oh, these fucking idiots, like I like my old school stuff. Or,
but that stuff it still exists.
The old school rap.
Yeah, old school rap still exists, and there's still new old school sounds. So it's I can't stand that. But that's the same in any genre. There's always going to be the old heads. Same thing has happened to rock music as well. As always people listening
but I feel like that's part of the problem. It's like you need to like go with the like. If you're a musician or like if you just love music, like why wouldn't you want to see your love or your hobby progress? You're kind of just like stuck in the past a bit. Yeah. Like I get like some people aren't gonna like Playboy Cardi, but like what that man is doing to like hip hop. It's like pretty impressive. Yeah, and it's I think things can exist for different reasons. Same with the mosh pit, and kind of your though you are speaking on a lot more real topics about what you're actually experiencing, what you're talking about. But there does seem to be, and as you've just kind of said, that there's this energy that you want to impart above all else. You need everyone to just be hype, going crazy, while. Last week we had Username Unknown on here, and Username Unknown, Jason is all about lyricism. He's got some stuff to say, and it has to be really intricate. He comes from a poetry background, moving into hip hop, and so it comes from a very different place. I don't think I will ever see him in a mosh pit. I don't think he has any intention. He even tries to avoid writing hooks for the most part because he feels like, well, why would I write a hook when I could put another verse in there? Well, yeah, that's a very That's also like we were talking just before the podcast about like the understanding of music, right? Because I'm also like I'm still pretty new to writing music, and I sort of had that approach. It's like I guess like a hook is like sometimes it's boring to write because you want to fill it up with more interest and stuff, but that's just like the musically correct thing to do, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think it's I get it from like an artistry point of view if you're a big lyricist and that's kind of what you want to do. But we were talking about it last week with Jason that. And I think this goes into kind of what your view of this anyway, is that you try and impart this energy to the crowd. And the crowd, for the most part, especially at this like earlier stage, where they're not here for every verse. They don't want to hear our intricate wordplay and all that stuff.
They're not listening to it.
There are fans out there. There's obviously there's a huge amount of people out there who love kind of getting in there and mining for the gold, for the little nuggets and making all the connections in your lyrics. But there's also a hell of a lot of people, potentially more, that just want to get rowdy and just want to have a dance and just want to get, just have a hype, fun time. And there's nothing better than a hook for that. Yeah,
it's catchy. It's like you can kind of hear it.
I think there's the music, there's the artistry, and that's fine. If you just want to write, if you love being in the studio and you just want to be the best poet and whatnot, then you could do that and maybe put it out on Bandcamp and stuff like that, and you can go and perform. But as you said, like, when you're on stage, there is another side to this. There's also the service side to it. You are there for the audience just as much as they are there for you.
Well, kind of, it's pretty ironic I'm about to say this because it kind of counteracts like everything I'm saying. But like this new EP, well, like my first EP I'm working on is sort of like not even hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lot more like rock and like indie pop and this, you know, like there's this new fucking artist that everyone's frothing. You know, Black Country New Road. Have you heard of them?
It rings a bell.
Yeah, like one of my songs is like very inspired from that kind of sound, and it's like this more lyrical stuff because it's like kind of going back to like the therapeutic side of music. Well, it's like you can make these chill songs and you can make these verse songs, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't perform it with energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see some artists and they're performing like the most like chill sort of songs you just listen to while you're driving.
Yeah.
And it still fucking goes crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's not even necessarily like the song, it's just how you perform that. And that's a very different sort of skill.
Well, it also, they're two different skill sets. Another thing as well is just having the confidence and not even necessarily the confidence, but the mentality to do that. And I think
I get that.
for me, it took a long time. I think for Jason, he had a similar issue.
Did you guys ever have like performance backgrounds or anything?
I mean, I've been on stage since I was probably 15.
As like actors stuff?
Oh, no, just as musicians.
Yeah, so I think maybe because I had like a bit of a drama background in school, that probably helps breaking that like you can just do whatever the fuck you want to. Like, yeah, you gotta like look as your audience is like they're not even there.
Yeah, I've written down because you mentioned it before that you said you were writing scripts and plays when you were younger. So was that your kind of first start into creativity?
You know what? I would probably say yeah, kind of. I'd always sort of like loved movies like pretty like blandly, but then I don't know why I just sort of it was in like year 11 as well. Like this is a late year to be picking like a new whole entire subject. I was like I'm just gonna do drama, and then here we are now.
Yeah. So so you were in a lot of plays in that point, or
I wasn't very good here. Like I'll be blatantly honest. Like I felt like I was doing the sort of what you had to do in the subject, but I never did anything outside of it. I did a TV ad, but that was like 2 seconds and I was in it. Yeah. But yeah, I just think no, it wasn't my thing. Like I love acting and everything, but like it definitely just wasn't very good at it. Yeah.
Right. But you found that dramatic flair.
Yeah, and I feel like definitely post-performing, I'm seeing like I'm pretty good at it in like the sense that maybe it's just because I do have that confidence of just like I don't give a fucking shit or like what like this is me, I'm doing my thing. Like you gotta like this is just what you're gonna see. Like and you just can't be nervous with the mic. Hey? Yeah, you can't be nervous with that. Anything you do on stage, it might look stupid or it might look like sick. Yeah, and even like being athletic comes into it. That's something we haven't even discussed, but like I used to be a really heavy smoker and I've quit that largely for like health reasons, but like partially was, you know, I want to actually be able to sing for like 20 minutes on stage and not be like and goddamn the difference it makes is fucking incredible. Yeah.
It's interesting because saying that you don't give a fuck is kind of so.
Yeah, I counteract myself a lot. Hey?
Well, I mean, because I was going to say that, like, I say you need the confidence to be able to do this, but it's also, I think a lot of us have an imposter syndrome when we start out as artists because we start to think, like, why would anyone listen to me? Why would anyone give a shit about my music? Well, you know, anything along those lines. And so definitely coming into hip hop, especially. So like when I was doing more psych rock and folk and all that kind of stuff, I found it a lot easier, especially with the rock stuff, to jump around stage and be a fucking hooligan, do what I want. Because like that seemed like, well, I'm a teenager, I've got an electric guitar on me, I have everything that I need to convince people that I should be doing this. Being a rapper, however, I didn't look the part to start with at the very start. Now I've got a gold chain on, so it feels more right. It's a cheap gold chain, but nonetheless, it does the trick. Like that belief in myself that I wasn't supposed to really be doing this thing holds so much back of like, even to move like a rapper, to present yourself in any sense that would seem organic.
Well, maybe really, it's like, really you don't have to be just a rapper. Like,
no, of course not.
You can take all these inspirations and like, you know, it's not even like I'm a rapper. It's just like I don't even call myself a rapper a lot of the time. I'm just like an artist that makes rap sometimes, doesn't make rap sometimes. But yeah, I'm just a fucking performer. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It seems, much more just unapologetic Jim Horde.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
all
gonna
it
get
is.
in your face, but like, it's gonna be rowdy, but it's also gonna be like a bit emotional, and it's like, yeah, like, you can call me whatever the fuck you want, but like, I don't even know what I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it when people call me just like exclusively a rapper. But I
Yeah.
guess because the music I've made so far that's been like technically released is like, yeah, probably more hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't. I guess I have in this just because we're talking
Yeah, it's easy.
about hip hop, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't describe you as such. And it's a place that I really like to exist in. I mean, we're also
We have like our sort of more comfortable like genres or whatever.
yeah, but we're also guests in a genre as well. Like, I mean, I guess you could say that about pretty much any popular genre at this point.
But
in
like,
time,
yeah, hip
but-
hop's obviously like historically African, and we should respect that, I guess.
Yeah,
as non-Africans.
So I've always had this attraction anyway to bringing in alternate genres and different influences.
Well, yeah, that reflects very much in your music.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. So that definitely, I don't know. Where was my train of thought? But yeah, we definitely wouldn't describe you as just a rapper anyway. But I like that mentality of this is just my music. This is my performance. That's all it needs to be. You don't need to look too much further into it, I guess. And then that opens up.
But that's also like, I guess being just more than one is also very fucking challenging. And I would say this is definitely like my first-hand experience with this is, Genesis Owusu?
Yeah.
So I've seen the guy twice, and like that's one of my fucking role models in like music period. But like the crowd this guy brings in is so fucking confusing. It's like because you're making like R&B, you're making like hip hop, you're making rock, you're just making like poetry. Like he's just doing fucking everything, and I respect him for that. But he's like one of the greatest performers as well. But like the crowd is just, it's hard to know who's coming. Like you got some of the like, the rock heads, you got some of like the people that just fucking love like JPEG and Death Grips and stuff. So like the crowd just really like conflicts with itself. Like the first time I saw it, like people were getting mad when there was mosh pits because they were probably just the more like hippies that wanted to just listen to like his chill shit. So when you've got like at least a very, I am just screamo or like I am just hip hop, like people can't really be mad if you're doing that stuff. But like if you were like an indie pop artist and like people were mosh pitting, like you'd probably be like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah.
So that's the one thing where I guess it does it's a conflicting audience.
I mean, it's hard. Yeah, I don't know. Is it up to the artist in terms of like how they?
Not really.
Once the audience is attracted to you, like there's only so much you can.
It's kind
you
of
can
out
really
of your
do.
control though. Like, and the beauty of probably being a lot bigger is maybe you have more creative freedom. I mean, that's more of an assumption because I guess it depends what your record wants. But like if you're outside of that kind of territory, you can kind of just do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
But like certain artists, I was watching a thing like an interview with a discussion between Anthony Fantano and Sean C on YouTube, and they were talking about like toxic fan bases.
Yeah, oh my god.
And not saying Genesis Oswald was it?
Definitely not. No.
Has a toxic fan base, but it's that like you can't choose your fan base too much. But I am intrigued though, like how do you how certain artists
get that niche?
They get their niche and they can definitely influence their fan base. And the example they actually used was Eminem because Eminem is
it's
and
got
I'm not
bad fan base.
Yeah, got a bad fan base. I'm not a big fan of Eminem. Respect him as a lyrical fucking genius.
Like,
there's no doubt about that. But I guess his particular brand of braggadocio.
I feel like it also even comes down to like race when it comes to Eminem, which you shouldn't, right? But like it's just, you get a lot more like white people that would, and then it's kind of just a reflection. Like some people are like, oh, it's cringy as fuck. And it's just like, I think Eminem, you've probably done like a lot for hip hop, but like, the modern day shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, how we're going back on like the whole like mumble rap and stuff. Like it's just, you want to see the culture flow, right?
That's a good point, and something that has driven me nuts about him. And that's why, when I say I respect Eminem for his lyrical stuff, I'm talking like 10 plus years ago at this point. Like his modern stuff feels very much just attacking mumble rap, which
and it's also like
attacking the evolution.
It's dumb as fuck though. Like just because you can rhyme incredibly, it doesn't mean something like a lyric like playing Fortnite with your grandma at a crib is like a good lyric. just because you can rhyme it like that, it doesn't also translate to just, oh, that's genius. Just because he rhymed like this syllable and like all that crap. Like, it still needs to sound well written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to sound well written. It needs to be witty. It needs to be, but it needs to be relevant. It needs to be relevant now. And I think a lot of these are huge sweeping statements. I don't really feel like I'm someone who can comment too heavily on this kind of culture, but definitely a lot more. Because I don't know, I've actually had people. This is small time, but like, people talk about my work to my face about it kind of being this lyrical focused hip hop. Like, well, yes, in a sense,
not your new stuff.
Not my new stuff.
It's very more
I've tried
like
to move away from it.
driven.
Yeah, I've tried to move away from it because I realized that like I was writing all this stuff and then I would read it like months later and go, I don't even know what I mean at this point because it's focusing too much on like the intricate wordplay and not really what I'm actually trying to say, what I'm trying to do. And I find that with a lot of more modern lyrical hip hop it does kind of trip itself up in that sense of like it's almost gatekeeping. It's almost like it's an elitist way of. That's such a sweeping statement. I'm actually going to back off on that comment because it requires a lot more intricate analysis.
But I get what you mean. Like, we can obviously stay away from that. But like, yeah, it's just like, and I think that comes down to like music. Like, just because you can make something that's very well written, is it still musically good?
If the crowd loves it, then fucking sweet. But I guess that's the thing. I guess
because music's subjective.
Yeah.
Like, the Death Grips fan base probably won't listen to like what's his name? Tom McDonald or some shit.
No.
But it's just like.
No one should listen to Tom McDonald.
Yeah, no, fuck no. But yeah, that
is a statement I'll stick by. I can go fuck himself.
Anyway, fucking hell. Where are we going with this? I felt like we just lost our train of thought. Like.
I got one more question. I've got another question here for you. I always find it really interesting kind of looking back on, obviously, how we grow up really, really affects how we...
100%.
How we are creative. So I wanted to see, ask what kind of music was playing in your house that your parents were playing,
Bro, I don't know,
do you see influence there in your current work?
Not at all, man. My parents had shit music taste. I actually didn't really get into like listening to music like properly, like Spotify digging and stuff. Maybe till I was like 16. My brother got me. He kind of got me into music with like Rex Orange County and like Tyler the Creator.
Yeah.
And then kind of just from there, I did my like own sort of digging and like a lot of like we drive to work together when we both used to work at like this retirement home. So yeah, I will say a lot of my music taste is kind of inspired from like my brother.
Yeah.
And then from there, I've just gone on to listen to a lot of different shit that he also kind of fucks with, but like he didn't like discuss like show it for me.
Is he musical himself?
He's huge, man. Like he's definitely. He produces some of my beats, actually.
Cool.
Trapped in the Rat Race, Escapism. A lot of the new shit we're working on together because the EP is sort of about, like, our experience with our old house. So it's just, like, this 5-track EP, like, about our house. So we're going to make the instrumentals and the lyrics together that we'll record when I go home. But, yeah, he's hugely musical. He's a DJ, like, sort of D&B stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say a lot of it comes to him and then just... Yeah, I guess having that, like, writing background, it's like, oh, what else can I do with this instead of just writing, like, stories?
Yeah.
But that kind of gets boring. And music's just, like, not as time-consuming. And it's funner, and you can do more with it. Like, I don't want to do a book tour, but, like, fuck, how sick would be doing, like, a album tour or something?
Yeah. That's interesting. I think... Especially in this day and age. In fact, again, we've said it so many times, but we were talking just before we started recording about... I've just released an EP recently, and you asked the question, why don't you just put out singles? And this is a counterpoint to that, to the people don't listen to anything.
The TikTok age, man. We got like a 2-second fucking what's it called? Like
attention span.
Yeah, attention span.
Albums. Yeah, less viable, especially when you're starting out. Obviously, like when you get big and you have a fan base, fucking sick. Yeah, release your albums, all that kind of stuff. And I personally much prefer making full projects.
100%, I agree with that.
And I can see the criticism for, we wish that everyone would make albums and everyone would listen to albums, but it's not the case. Everyone makes singles, but it also has a fun counter to that is I think it also takes the pressure off a lot of the stuff that you do. You don't. I actually really enjoy putting out a single, knowing it doesn't need to be this big thing. I don't need to like market it in a sense of like everyone needs to fucking hear this. This is the biggest fucking thing I'm ever gonna do, and my heart and soul is in this.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of fun to just say, hey, I threw this song together. I made this song in an afternoon. I fucking mixed and mastered it. There you go. It's ready to go. And it's actually, I've been getting a lot more into DJing once again, and that's a big part of that kind of scene. Is, you know, a song will drop, and then there'll be someone does a bootleg over here, someone does a remix over here, someone does an edit over here, and like they might not even have the stems, they might not have the original mix file, so they are just chopping up the final release, putting a twist on it, and it's got this rough, organic feel, and it's like, this doesn't need to be the biggest song I've ever made.
Yeah, like, it doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah, this song is just for the people at the club that I'm going to play to in 2 weeks or tonight. Maybe I'm only going to play this remix tonight because I'm vibing it, and then it's fucking on out of here.
Well, I guess like DJ and musician are pretty different in an essence. Like there's obviously a lot of similarities, but a DJ can play like nothing original as well. Yeah,
for sure.
Like, you don't even. It's more just like how can you put music together at like a core level. You know, like I'm sure you could agree that people that just DJ at like Rats or something probably aren't even DJs. They're just playing like fucking shitty like sort of just playlists.
Well, I mean, it's the same. I think this is kind of the same, connected to the same conversation of like being a. If you want to be this romantic idea of a true artist, or if you want to be also a service to the audience, and I find that middle ground a really nice place to be as a DJ, and I think, and then connecting this back to like the TikTok age, as an artist as well, because you could release a track that is more memey than you would actually put your heart
like
and soul
Young Gravy
in.
or something.
But people fuck with it. People vibe that shit. You know, like it doesn't need to be as serious. It can be more fun, a little bit more throwaway. But the fans, the audience can actually really get down with that because they can see that like, oh, this isn't some fancy studio project. This is just something that you threw together. This feels really organic.
Like a meme,
This is something I can both maybe I could do it myself, or it's also just it seems more natural. It seems more like, oh, that's more
it's
catchy in a sense.
Though.
That 100%, because it doesn't need to be. That's the focus.
It doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting point. I feel like so much of like that also just comes down to like how serious you are about like trying to be an artist. Are you just kind of doing it more for fun? Are you kind of, or like, oh, you want to make it even, or but like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess identity also comes into that as well. Like, I guess when you start making meme rap, maybe you're going to be labeled more as a meme artist. And then it harder to then make more serious stuff? Is there not a way to like try and blend all of this? And I was talking this before the podcast started about like using TikTok as a platform to sort of use your music as fucking basically the future now. Like I try to do like some skits centered around my song because no one just wants to hear like an ad like, you know, Boy in Ash drown now. You kind of take the idea.
I literally dropped one just before you got here.
And people are like, this is kind of funny, and like they'll like it, or like just trying to build a fan base of just like other artists. It's just I fucking both love and hate like the age we're in, because music's never been this easy to make, right?
No.
Like the freedom we have, like software. And not having to have record labels and stuff. Anyone can, and so many people make music. I remember I used to be like, oh, I'm so cool. But now I'm just like, well, that's so stupid to think. Like it should be something that like everyone can do.
I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's that classic kind of old head mentality. It's like I've seen like older heads from people I grew up with, or so like parents of people I grew up with from my hometown, being like, oh, we used to pay for our music, and we got Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and all this. You guys don't pay for your music, and you guys get Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga.
Bro, we get Kanye, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I was like, there is maybe something. Well, first of all, back in the day, there is just as much trash as there is good stuff, because only the good stuff gets remembered. Second of all, if you just go to Bandcamp right now, like every hour there is another 100,000 not 100,000, hundreds to 100 to 1,000 amazing fucking projects.
That's
dropped.
also really scary, though.
It's scary, but I think that's fucking exciting. I think we need
scary
to
and,
adjust
like-
our perspective from going global to going to finding your niche little communities.
But it's also like incredibly hard. Like, you know, anyone can go viral, but like there's also like a very, very, very high chance that nothing you do will ever be seen outside of like your little world.
True.
Which is really scary. And it kind of is very like, you know, I've had moments where I've been like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, this is just draining and this is just like hurtful. But like, yeah, maybe it's just trying to not take it like as seriously. But it's harder, like, you know, I'm studying, but like, I don't want to do a corporate fucking job. So this is pretty much like the only option. Or like, you know, am I just going to struggle and just work hospital? Or like, you know, am I going to blow up and make enough income? But like, what's the odds of that? So it's just,
Odds increase the longer you do it.
Is that true though?
I
Because I
think
mean,
so.
like, you could drop like one song and like, yeah, once again, like that's unlikely as hell. But
Well, yeah,
could
if
be
you drop
like-
one song, very unlikely to blow up. Drop 2 songs, it's a little bit more likely that one of them will blow up. Drop
Yeah.
3 songs, again, I'm a big believer in, especially in this day and age, like just
keep grinding.
keep grinding, keep having fun with it. But that's the main thing, I think, is,
Yeah, when it no longer becomes fun.
if the
Yeah.
question is why we do it, it's because the process is fun. I just
Yeah.
enjoy making shit.
Yeah, no.
The
fuck
only
yeah, man.
issue is that, as you just said, like, you still need to pay bills.
Yeah,
So-
and
so-
music is so expensive. Like, just having the equipment, or like, even if you can't have the space to do that, like, record it in a studio, and then, you know, some gigs you have to pay to perform, which is pretty stupid, hey? And like,
Very
apparently
rare,
the Workers
yeah.
Club, right? Isn't that?
No, I don't believe so. No,
Maybe
no.
someone just said that. It's like they got their header wrong, but yeah, it's
There might be cases where like they want to put on a free gig and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but that seems unlikely. I'm not sure.
Also, I would say this is kind of actually a bit unrelated to the internet, but like I feel like, you know, being in Australia, our sort of way to blow up is through Triple J. You know, it's
Yeah,
true though.
yeah.
Like, if you get Triple J to like fuck with your music, they're connected to all the like bigger gigs and like
Yeah.
festivals and like, you know, that the bigger artists. So if they like you, you've got so much more connections within like Australia.
That's true. Actually, I've thought about that with Australia, that like if it's almost a slice of the old industry, because there's so fewer traditional avenues in this country, and especially with like Triple J is pretty much like the one
Yeah, they do
to
everything.
blow people up outside of the internet, which is why also I fucking hate Triple J, which is why most young
Well,
people
yeah.
fucking hate Triple J now.
I think Triple J, look, we're not gonna blow up on Triple J.
Fuck no.
No, I might if I start making more like rock pop kind of stuff. But like if I was just making like rap, they don't give a fuck. And
No.
it's like it's not their like music taste, so why
Yeah.
should they? But it does suck because they're obviously gonna want stuff like Spacey Jane. Like, you know, that more like rock.
There's very much a Triple J sound that people cater their shit to as well. Like,
Yeah.
I know that there's bands out there who are like, oh, well, if we just do things a little bit
But
like
then however
this.
saying that, like you gotta give credit to like someone like Arno Faraji. You know, like he's pretty. You never heard of him?
No.
Really,
No.
bro. Arno's. I've met him a few times because he's from Perth.
Right.
But he's like pretty big in like Australia, you know, like
Right.
he's done some of these festivals. I think he performed with like Juice WRLD and stuff, like when
Yeah.
because even when like international artists come here,
Yeah.
and then you're in Triple J, maybe Triple J would be more likely to be like, oh, do you want to like support this set or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
So if you do somehow make it on Triple J as like the one rapper or whatever, you know, in those sense, you might have some more opportunities. Obviously, that's been pretty shitty because of COVID, and like we've lost so much potential.
That's true. Well, I'm hoping that, hopefully my my shit blows up on Triple J. I have very little interest. I like the internet space. I really enjoy being able to just build shit myself. Just one more point I was actually going to bring it back to with the TikTok thing was, I just wanted to kind of tie that up in a bit of a bow, is that I think in this age with the TikTok stuff, and this is actually, okay, so to connect this with Triple J, this way it's all tight. I think like the Triple J kind of approach to me looks now too commercial. And I think this is also a similar attitude towards music in general because of the TikTok age. As you were saying, you put your music out there on TikTok just as the music. This is just my music, and I'm trying to be real serious about it. People don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because it looks really, I think, fake to people now.
It looks forced.
It looks forced.
Yeah, you need to do it like and this isn't even music, right? This is just like marketing. Like
Yeah.
they say the best ways to market something is subtlety.
Is
Like,
it what?
subtlety? And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
story. Like people connect well with like stories, and then somewhere in that story you make it about Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
People like notice that, but because it's not so like just drink Coke.
Yeah.
It's like this is the story about the guy that drank Coke and
Yeah.
what he got.
It's the same. It's the reason why companies use memes now.
Yeah, I fucking
They're
hated
always
it.
outdated. They're always really fucking cringy. But that's what they're looking at. They know that that's actually how it sells.
Have you seen it's funny enough you say that. Do you know mug root beer? Have you seen that shit on TikTok? Because
No.
that's so like they are with the times on the like ads,
Okay.
though, and it actually fucking works. Because
Right.
it's so like well done instead of like just those poorly done fucking
Yeah.
memes.
They
And
got to
you-
be employing 12-year-olds. You got to get the
Yeah,
you got
I
to
think
keep,
even
keep
just
behind
like
your
you know,
marketing
I
team.
feel old using TikTok, but like I'm probably
Yeah.
still younger than a lot of artists where I can kind of understand how to do it
Mm-hmm.
because I was raised with that really like stupid memey internet culture.
Yeah.
Like that, just like the people in there are like just idiots.
Yeah.
But like that is just like the internet is perfect. It's just
Yeah.
fucking chaotic.
Be chaos. I think if you want to make it as an artist in this day and age, and I do not take this medicine
Yeah.
either. This advice is saying I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah.
I'm trying to relearn. Be memey. Be
100%,
chaos. Be
yeah.
raw. I think.
Be a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be a character. Like you just can't just be like I make rap and I love just the lyrics and stuff. You need to
Yeah.
be like I do this, but I'm also a fucking roller skater or something. Just like you know, like Oliver Tree.
Yeah. Who?
Oliver Tree.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, everyone loves him. He makes
Yeah.
good music, but he's also just like, what the fuck is this? Like he wears all
Yeah.
the chaotic, like the colorful stuff. He's got
I
his scooter.
Don't like his music, but I fuck with him so hard because of that character.
Yeah, and
that's
that's if anything, that is the perfect example of
Yeah,
what we're sort of talking
absolutely.
about is Oliver Tree. Like
You know who my least favorite but favorite example of this as well is DJ Khaled, because I fucking despise everything about him.
Did he make like vines? Was it?
Yeah.
he
He
did
was
all
making
the-
it because he doesn't he sells his music on the music and on the radio stations, all
Yeah.
that shit. He does that kind of stuff, but on his Instagrams, on his TikToks, like he
It's really,
doesn't
like
sell.
motivational stuff.
Yeah, he's not selling his music. He's selling him as a person. He's selling
Yeah.
him as a character. Him as a character is despicable and just is a terrible human being.
So entertaining though.
But exactly, people are like, "Oh, I'm here for this," and
Yeah.
then at the top, there's a links to his music.
Well,
He's not fucking trying to shove it down your throat. Well, I mean, he is
Yeah.
in every fucking song, everything he does, but his Instagram itself is not. And Oliver Tree is a perfect
Can I talk
example of
about probably the most just weird example? Do you know
Yeah,
Filthy
please.
Frank?
that. Yeah.
Do you know
big time.
Joji?
Yeah.
That is just incredible how the
Yeah.
fuck he had a career.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, Filthy Frank was some of the most vile races, just like, whatever. It was just hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he makes, like, this sad boy shit.
Yeah.
And he's probably bigger now than when he was Filthy Frank.
Oh, for
But how do
sure.
you go from, like, that to, like, this? Like, what the fuck?
I think like if you can just build up a big enough audience,
But like a
even
lot of
if
people that just
5%
listen to
fuck with
Joji,
it-
I'm like, do you even know who Filthy Frank is? And they're like, nah. I'm like, what?
yeah.
He must just, that's just like understanding the internet, I feel like. Yeah.
Well, again, I guess it's just a guy who just loves making shit.
Yeah, super creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just enjoys making shit, and I really like that. I really love the fact that we live in this day and age. I would not trade. I would not go back to a simpler time of record labels and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
This is the fucking way to be.
This is the perfect
Is
age.
just making music. But I love doing this. I love
Yeah.
making podcasts.
Like
I
just
love
making
running
everything.
events. I love fucking making music. I love doing the art. And I love that with the internet, you can just put all that together in one place and like, there we go.
That is
that's what I'm
actually
doing.
beautifully. Yeah, we can kind of do everything now.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't just do music, I do poetry.
Yeah.
You know, I could start gymming or whatever. And imagine
Yeah.
I just got big doing the gym and then like,
Yeah.
then you like plug your music.
Yeah.
It's like, that's pretty funny. That.
You could get into fashion, right?
Yeah.
As you say,
maybe
you got a
being
fucking
a
great sense of it.
musician, maybe that's not even a thing anymore.
Yeah. You've got such a personality. You've got such a, and your character bleeds so much into your music that that's a
Yeah.
perfect. You're pretty much primed, ready for this type of marketing of just
fuck.
like keep making the memes. And your TikTok is working. Like your TikTok is perfect for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Sell that. Sell you as a person, as a character, and then
Yeah.
then the
So maybe the skill these days is more just creativity and like marketing, which is it's a sad thing and a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you can do the music, you could just make average music, kind of like Oliver Tree, right? It's like it's good, but like it's not like super out of the bubble. And,
Yeah.
like, it's pretty safe.
That's
Like,
my only issue with it.
his persona-
character is so fucking weird, but his
Yeah.
music is not that weird, and I kind of.
But maybe that's kind of like the cool part. Is like you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah,
It's
true.
just like you'd expect it to be really just like I would think like 100 gex or some shit that really like he kind of looks like he'd be like an artist like that. But then he's just making kind of like nice indie,
Yeah.
like rock. Like what the fuck?
But we know that those tunes get hits, so.
Oh yeah, holy
hell
shit.
with it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like I would say like I'm trying to go with a bit more like not safe music, but a bit more like, not as like in your face like this is original. Like it's trying to do a bit of both. Like make more like chill stuff that can be like better like singleized, and then when you've got a bit more of a fan base, then you can just do a bit of everything. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, the shit's still a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't look at it as like maybe as part of it is just acknowledging that.
Yeah.
Like even saying about performing, like we're serving.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're creating this project. You want this to hit like as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's a nice middle ground in there. If you want to just be a random, if you want to be an artist and pure, like a romantic idea of pure artistry,
Yeah.
fucking sweet. Yeah, but if you do want to make it,
Yeah.
be it monetarily or just get ears and eyes on your work, you gotta
I think that middle
get on
ground is
TikTok.
where
Essentially,
you need to be in that
is what
middle
it's saying.
ground. I think.
Yeah.
Too safe, too boring. Why should I listen to you?
Yeah.
Too alternative. Like, why would I even know who you are?
Yeah.
In the middle, yeah, I feel like it's like that's pretty creative, but it's not like super extreme that like most people are gonna be put off or like find it annoying or yeah, like I can never hyperpop's pretty confusing for me, but like a lot of people
Yeah,
really fuck with hyperpop.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend went to like a live show and said it was like one of the funnest things she's ever seen was this like hyperpop DJ. Like, huh. And it's also like hyperpop is really queer.
Yeah.
I never understood why. Like, I don't really understand the connections between like queer culture and like hyperpop.
Yeah, it seems like to me it looks almost like taking capitalism and just owning it, if that makes sense. Like it's
like this is my thing.
it's almost like spoiling what's sacred. I think that I actually really fuck with hyperpop in that kind of space for that reason.
Yeah.
Taking
No, the
these
culture's
super
beautiful.
capitalist symbols and just
Shit in on it.
putting an uncanny valley twist on everything is just beautiful. And I think that's the same thing as the TikTok thing is like, because pop is so polished.
Yeah.
Hyperpop is like polished past the point of being
It's like extreme.
now it sounds off. Something is a little bit too I don't know, too perfect that it actually becomes a bastardization of what's sacred in the eyes of the old industry.
I feel like I would like, I sing over so much different type of like instrumentals. Like, I've got this one song that's literally just like, idols, very like, that kind of British rock.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I've got something that's more like, it's just like, I would love to just do a hyperpop song as more like a throwaway thing, like just fuck it, why not? But like, that it's just, because that would definitely be like just, breaking your comfort zone is very, 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 very important.
Huge.
And if you like music, like why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just don't put yourself in a box. Just try everything. You might not be good at like I can't fucking sing to save my life, bro. My singing voice is shit. But like when I want to do those more like softer tracks, I kind of have like a very kind of like Genesis and like, do you know Bakar? No, it's more this like.
Sorry, I don't know any name you thrown at me.
But like that, it's more this like sort of shouty, singy, and I feel like I'm very comfortable with that, and I really like doing that kind of stuff. So I'm going for this more like that kind of approach going forward, because it's a bit more like original as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and it works in just so many. Like you can go rowdy with it, you can go really quiet, or you can go like. And it's also got like commercial sales, but it's also like cool enough that people are like, huh, like people sing like that.
Yeah.
And, do you know King Cruel?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, that's not exactly, but like that sort of stuff. It's more, it's a bit
It's a
harsher.
little bit of rawness, a little bit of that organic, that I think people just believe
Yeah.
them.
Well, yeah, you know that one song I performed at Come Together? It's called, I think, Suburban Love Trash.
Yeah.
It's like that, you know, like, Burns Beach, you always take my eyes away.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, I wouldn't even call that like singing. But like, it's still kind of
There's
is.
a middle,
Yeah.
Almost spoken word at times.
Yeah,
almost.
sort of. Actually, kind of like spoken. That's
Yeah.
the way to put it. But it's still got like that rhythmic, and it's kind of like a wave. Like you're still adding like tone and depth to it.
I think it's very believable for me. So I hear someone doing that kind of voice, that kind of performance, and I'm like, I think they're definitely gonna. I think they definitely believe themselves when they're doing that. If you sound super polished, same thing with the pop music, and then kind of taking it too far, when it's super polished to the point of pop music, there's a lot of people who just get turned off immediately. It's just too clean. It doesn't sound
It's boring
human
nowadays,
to me. It doesn't sound human to me because it sounds
is kind
too
of
organic.
like, I feel like pop is definitely like not like a dead genre, but like most people like, you know, it's just like pop's like if you listen to music, but you don't really listen to music.
I mean,
You know,
I would still say most of the population, hence the word pop, still listen to.
But like they wouldn't fan base over like, you know, certain artists. It's more just like you listen to it on the radio or something.
True.
I would like to believe that, but maybe I'm just being I'm so niche. Like,
Maybe. I think we're going to wrap it up there.
All right.
Jim Horde, do you have anything you want to plug before we kick it off? I mean, I'll put your links down in the description if you want to check out your music.
I don't actually know, man. I haven't really fucking final. I need to drop some stuff, man. It's been a while. I've been pretty lazy, but I would say maybe just watch out for the page. I need to record like finals for a few singles, but I would definitely say we're in April right now.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like by the next month, I can't believe I just forgot one next month.
May.
By May, I'm gonna have something, and I'll be out of the scene for a little bit where I'm in Perth, but definitely when I'm back in Melbourne, I'm just keen to like really fucking kill it and just put on shows and like perform everywhere.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But till then, I'm gonna go hibernate for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get back in the studio.
Everyone follow Jim Horde on Instagram. Check out Spotify. Links in the description and all that kind of stuff. And check out his TikTok. It's
funny shit, bro.
It's now watch it as a masterclass of how to do this kind of shit now. This has been the Vibe Union podcast. I'm Rhath, you know, all that. Please like, comment, share it around. That's a huge thing to build these numbers up. This is a small thing. We're all about the local scene, so share it around to people who are in the local scene of Melbourne. And if you are in the local scene and you want to get on the podcast, hit us up, vibeunioncollective@gmail.com. DM us wherever you're listening to this. That doesn't make any sense if you're listening to Spotify. DM us on Instagram, vibe.union. That's it. We're out.
See ya.